welcome to the show. Once again, we have a fabulous lineup of guests to energise and inspire you.
It's time to wake up your wow with your host, international award-winning speaker, Cath Vincent.
On the show, Commonwealth boxer Shane Cameron takes us behind the scenes of Celebrity Treasure Island. The holistic pharmacist Cheryl Wiggins explains what's missing in your food. And Lisa Lowe brings an entire garden into the studio. And in the Wilde Records recording slot with Jesse Wilde, we have a surprise guest. All this and more to wake up your wow. Shane, welcome. Thanks for being on the show.
Yes, thank you. I'm privileged to be here, so I'm excited.
Oh, you're sweet. Thank you. Well, hey, I've been seeing you on my TV screen a lot lately. So on Celebrity Treasure Island.
Yes.
So for people who don't know, who aren't in the grip of it, what's the show about?
They call it Celebrity Treasure Island.
That's you?
I call it personalities or however you want to look at celebrities. Yeah, it's a hard one for me to say that, but yeah, personalities that people know around New Zealand. Yeah, they all come together on an island. It's the last time they put together a Treasure Island show like that was 12 years ago. So, and I remember watching it when I was younger and I was still coming through as a boxer and very busy with boxing. I was always captured watching the show every time. I was thinking I'd love to give that show a go. And then it just didn't happen for, 12 years it was, yeah. And then I got a phone call from my agent and he said, they're casting people for Celebrity Treasure Island. Would you be interested? You know, I don't think he had even finished the sentence. I said, yes, I'm in. He goes, Jesus, I've said it to some people, and they're like, oh no, I don't think I can handle that because, you know, you're living it rough and they don't know the conditions and there's no food and stuff like that. But I'm like, oh no, that's okay. I'm keen. I'm in.
So was it really like that though? Is there literally no food and you've got to compete for your food?
Literally, yeah, you got to compete for your food. So. Each day, because it was initially for the first, we started with 16 people, and once it got down to 8 people, then they all combined and we all lived in one camp. And other than that, it was one blue team, which we were the blue team, which was Markor, and then there was another team, yellow team, which was Kahu. So we competed against each other each day. And one of the challenges during the day, each day was the food challenge. So whatever the food was and whatever the challenge was, we had to win the challenge to get the treats. You know?
Wow! So it's treats. Survival of the fittest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and we weren't the fittest at the start. You know, and it wasn't like I'm physically strong and all that sort of stuff, but when it comes to this upstairs with the old puzzles, oh no, you don't want to take me to the trenches. If there's anything to do with puzzles, you'll die. But if it's fighting or lifting something, have me on your team.
Well, being a boxer must have given you a head start in a lot of it.
It did, and it didn't. It sort of exposed me when I first got there in the first challenge. I was well out of my depth, you know, and you had to go there and you had to work out the clue and then try and find the next clue and try and find someone else and then find someone that was buried in the sand. I was like, oh my God, my confidence just went from there to down to here because I was like, oh no, this is not what I expect. I thought this was going to be more like, more physical, but you got to understand where there was all different types of people. You know, there were sports people, there's personalities, there's actors, and some are strong, some are not so strong, and some are not so fit, and then so they had to mix it up and change it up, and there was a lot of luck in that game. Yeah. There was a lot of luck, you know, and I suppose you look at it like there's strong people in the team, you know, and as the game went on, you want the strong people out because if you get to the end, get to the final, then you're up against someone very strong. So you want to get to the final and be up against someone that's not as strong as you. Yeah. So it's a game that I didn't play it that well, but I made it to the final, and that was really cool, you know. So
you must have done quite well.
I did well to make it to the final. There was a bit of luck involved, not just for me, but for everyone, you know. So, but there was people that played the game very well, you know.
So how long did it last? How long were you stuck on this island for?
3 weeks. Yeah. 3 weeks, yeah. So if you made it right to the end, it was 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 weeks. So it was hard the first 9 days because the first 9 days we didn't win any food. Actually, we won one challenge.
You didn't win any food in the first 9 days?
The first 9 days we didn't win any food. But we did win a challenge, and guess what the challenge was? Guess what the prize was?
Not food.
One bottle of champagne. One bottle of champagne, and we're like, Oh my
Well, we're having
God.
champagne later, so stick around.
Yeah, but I'm sure there's food later too. Like, we don't even have to win the challenge. Hey, maybe, yeah. But,
And did you guys fight? Like, was there a bit of rivalry? Oh, I don't like this person.
100%, yes,
Oh,
100%. There was rivalry, yes, there was rivalry. Only because, like, our team were very civilised. We had Barbara Kendall as our team captain, and she was really cool. She set the precedent straight away in terms of, you know, because you win each day, you win clues, so you can choose to keep the clues yourself or share them with your team. We chose to share them with the team, so because at the end of the day, only one person will win.
Yeah.
You know, so if we share the clues, then everyone gets a chance. So if I had 3 clues and then I share it with everyone else, just in case I don't make it to the final, then they know. You know, so we were very good in that way. Whereas the other team, Kahu, they kept all their clues individually, you know, they were really,
close to their chest,
they didn't, you know, they weren't thinking laterally like how we were, and we just had a good time, you know, we just had a good time, and it was awesome.
Would you do it again?
I would, I would do it again. I don't know if they'd pick me again though, because it's well, we've done it, you know, we've done it, you know, and.
How would you say your personality was in it? Or, you know, your persona on the TV screen?
Yeah, well, that was just me. That's me. Yeah, and I suppose, like as I spoke to you earlier before we come on here, was people don't know me, my personality, or they don't know me as everyday Shane Cameron. They normally know me as the fighter who, you know, talks tough and hurts people, knocks people out, and that way, you know. So they haven't really seen. Yeah.
And you've hardly hurt anyone today.
Sorry?
You know, you've hardly hurt anyone today.
Hey, wait till we crack that wine open later. I'll be ringing one wine. No.
Actually, you've been here before though, haven't you?
Yes,
You've
I have.
recorded in the studio. Your daughter's recorded.
My daughter,
with
twice.
Jessie.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Georgia, she's it's really cool to spend time with Jessie, and my daughter loved it, absolutely loved it.
Yeah. And so you're a father, you're a Commonwealth boxer.
Yeah. So I started boxing late. I was a farm boy before that. I was a shepherd. I used to ride horses. I ride a horse to work, and then you know, you take different pathways in life. And I went to the UK for my OE when I was 19. Yeah. And I was watching some boxing on TV, and I was saying, I want to give that sport a go. And then, within a year and a half, I was ranked number 3 in England. And 3 more years later, I won a bronze medal at the Commonwealth Games. And then 10 years after that, I fought for a world title, and then made some money out of the sport and done well. But and then now I'm still in the game. I promote fight nights that are on Sky TV, and I have my own boxing range out called Counterpunch, and keeping busy. I own a gym on the North Shore, so certainly plenty enough to do. And in between that, go to Fiji and get starved.
You look good. I mean, you look really skinny.
That's not a compliment when you say that to a guy. If you say that to a woman, they love you. They love you. If you say it to a guy, I'm not skinny. I'm just probably a bit lean.
It was a compliment. I'm like, your bum looks good in that. You know. Well, hey, it sounds to me, in hearing what you said, you had an idea that you wanted to be a boxer, you became a boxer and nailed it. Yeah. You went, I'd like to be on Celebrity Treasure Island. 12 years later, boom, done it. What's next?
What's next? I'll just keep challenging myself. I've got a lot of goals that I want to do with my Counterpunch business, which has got a lot of opportunity, basically anything to do with boxing. And my vision is basically in boxing, when they think boxing, they think Shane Cameron.
We do.
Because I promote boxing, I manage a lot of fighters, I promote fight nights on Sky TV, I own my own boxing brand and range. I run Counterpunch courses around the country where I'm the only person that's an accredited person that can accredit personal trainers around the country as a personal trainer to give them a level 1 certification. And a few more other things, but I'm not going to go on about them. It's not about me, the show, it's about you.
Now let's talk about me. No. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Cool. When I think boxing, I think Shane Cameron.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Up next, Cheryl Wiggins on a complete approach to health. Cheryl, thanks for joining me.
Oh, Cath, lovely to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, my pleasure. So you are the holistic pharmacist.
I am, and what a great role, moving into all of that bigger thinking.
Yeah, so tell me, what does that actually mean?
Well, I'm a pharmacist by profession, and I've chosen to move more into integrative medicine and focusing on inflammation and disease management.
Okay, so rather than kind of going to the pharmacist because something's wrong, it's looking earlier on in your lifestyle, perhaps?
Yes, we still need to go to the pharmacist when things do go wrong, but it's looking at how we can take control of our health and guide the journey rather than wait to see what happens.
Yeah. So what are some of the issues that you're working with?
The biggest focus is inflammation. It's a big word, big area. We become more inflamed as we age, so there's lots of space for us to work in, and it's about creating wellness naturally, actually.
So you mean inflammation anywhere in the body that causes some other condition?
That's right, and processed foods, EMF, Wi-Fi, just not sleeping, busy lives is all inflammatory.
You just described my entire life there.
Yeah, that covers most of us.
Yeah. So what is the issue with the food that we're eating, the pace that we're operating at?
Well, the whole thinking of 5+ a day or 7+ a day, it's not measuring the quality or the content of the food. It's just saying get 5 a day and you'll be fine.
So 5 fruit and veg.
Correct.
And then it was 7. Why is it 5 and then 7? I've always been a bit confused by that.
I'm not sure. Things change. Like the food pyramid is different now to what it was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Just depends who's getting the marketing.
Yeah.
That's unfortunately. But it's looking at how we're growing food, how we're processing it, and where we're getting it from. So that quick, fast, easy in the supermarket, and we did love that perfect produce. Nature's not perfect, and we like to see more natural foods growing organically and actually being picked at the final phase of growth rather than being picked green. That's when most of the immune fighting anti-inflammatory nutrients come in with the foods.
Right, so actually the food that we're eating is being picked earlier in the cycle and has less of the good stuff in it.
Yes, the phytonutrients that are actually beneficial to us, which actually we borrow from nature. It's the anti-inflammatory impact, the phytonutrients. They are produced in the plant at the final phase of growth, so it's the second phase, the ripening phase. And if we're picking our stuff early when it's green, these plants are not being challenged and the nutrients are not being as produced as high as they would normally if we let the fruit ripen on the plant.
So when you're buying your fruit and veg from the supermarket, typically that has been picked early, hasn't it?
That's right, and often it's out of season. We can have kiwi fruit all year, we have apples all year.
Yeah.
We no longer eat in season, we can choose to have fruit or veg all year.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. If you went to the supermarket and they didn't have apples,
we'd be surprised.
It'd be an outcry.
Like it's all picked green, refrigerated, all produced out of season. So it's not a natural process, it's been forced, and we lose a lot of those key nutrients which are produced in the plants, which we really borrow. It's that natural rescue system we borrow from nature and from plants that helps us reduce inflammation and keep things ticking as they should.
So nature's rescue system, I like that.
That's right.
So how do you know if you're getting what you need or not?
Well, it's like those, I like to walk on the shore along the coast and there's always these fruit trees that are loaded with fruit and they look really crazy trees. They're all out of shape, loaded with fruit, and you'll see on the ground there's so much fruit. It's like no one's eating them.
Yeah.
And probably they aren't because they're so bitter. These would be the trees, the old heritage strains of fruit, not sprayed, and they're hard to peel and they're very bitter to eat. So no one really chooses to have them because we have our perfect produce in the supermarket. And most of those sylvestrols or the phytonutrients have been produced out of the plant and they taste great, but we're losing those key nutrients which help us in everyday life.
It's a good point, actually. Like fruit and veg didn't used to look quite so perfect.
No, and they're all almost identical. They're all the same size, the same shape. It's great for a party. You can get everyone having the same looking thing.
Yeah.
But ideally, it's the gnarly, out of shape stuff that's fallen off the tree or is not really ideal for the market that has the high level of the nutrients, those phytonutrients that we need to protect us.
So what would your advice be if maybe we don't know whether we're getting the nutrients we need or not. What would your advice be for staying healthy?
Well, it's part of the picture, it's not the entire picture, and from a holistic approach, there's many facets to wellness. One of the key areas with food is growing your fruit and veggies if you can, and going organic and buying your produce from different organic suppliers, so you have opportunity for different sources of fruit and veggies, and understanding that food that's sprayed and picked green and eaten out of season is likely to have lower levels of these phytonutrients than those ones that are grown organic and picked in season. You know, these foods that we have in the supermarkets definitely do have the phytonutrients, but definitely not in the content or the level that they would have 50 years ago or even 20 years ago. We can all remember growing up and having fruit or picking fruit off a tree. It just didn't look as good as it does now.
And it
tasted different.
It was like candy to us, wasn't it,
Correct.
really? Whereas, as you say, you know, stuff now, the palate is so sweet
Correct.
that fruit would taste more bitter.
And these key nutrients that we focus on are the bitter extracts,
Right.
and commercially those are removed.
So to summarise, in a nutshell, what advice would you give us?
Be smart with your food and what you can grow and eat clean. Buy your fruit and veggies from a variety of organic shops, and be aware that it's not just about eating well. Sometimes we do need to supplement with key nutrients that are clean and focused on wellness. Yeah, creating wellness naturally.
Cool. Thanks so much for joining us, Cheryl.
Thank you, Kath. That's great.
Up next, Lisa Lowe with a unique approach to the veggie patch.
Hello and welcome. Thanks for joining me here today. My question to you is, how confident are you when you speak in public? How confident would you be doing an elevator pitch like this one? The truth is, if you are not supremely confident every time you speak, you're not the best ambassador for your business. Right. You're not the one who's going to get that job promotion. And you're simply not the person you were born to be. Get happy when you speak and you'll discover confidence you never knew you had. And those results will show up everywhere.
Lisa, thanks for joining us on the show.
Thanks, Kath, for having me.
My pleasure. So now we've heard all about how we could grow our own food to keep healthier, and you've brought an entire garden with you.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a little veggie pod here, so we thought we'd bring a bit of greenery indoors for
Looks
you to look
great.
at. Perfect time for spring as well to be talking about growing your own food.
Yeah, so it's called Vegepod.
Yes.
Tell me how it works.
So they are a self-watering vegetable garden kit to enable people to grow their own food at home. So I guess our mission at Vegepod is to help people to grow something at home of their own food. And that might be at home, but it could also be in their school or retirement village or even a community garden setting.
Yeah.
But there is just so many benefits, as you heard before, around eating healthy homegrown food. There's the obvious physical benefits, but then there's also the therapeutic ones as well. So the kind of emotional and mental well-being that you get from being outside, pottering around to a garden and actually growing some of your own food.
Yeah, seeing something that you've created come
Yeah,
to
and
life.
then putting it on the plate and eating it as well. So it's that whole process is so rewarding for people.
Yeah.
And we want to be part of that, whether you're a kid learning to grow right through to people in their 90s that are in a retirement village that still can just pot around to a little garden out on their balcony or deck.
Yeah, well, you have a lot in there, but it doesn't take up a lot of space.
No, exactly. I mean, that's our smallest size. It's 1 metre by half a metre, but you can pack a lot of food and grow a lot in that space, where it's full of strawberries and herbs, even some silver beet going there. They're full of soil, as you can see as well, so there's the depth down to grow root veggies in them. So your carrots, beetroots, radishes can also be grown. And the covers enable the height as well, so even little dwarf tomato plants or dwarf beans can be grown in them. So yeah, they have enough protection and water supply under the soil so that you can grow really close together in a small space.
Yeah, and so how does the self-watering work?
So you'll see here a little mist sprayer through the roof that you can plug your hose into, and that waters from the top down. But the way they truly self-water is actually under the soil. You can't see the water there, but below it sits a reservoir that holds 3 to 4 weeks of water supply for the garden.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
It is. It's amazing. It means people can go away in summer on holiday and not worry about someone having to come around and water their plants.
Yeah.
The garden will be absolutely fine, and it's filling up every time it rains, so the rain goes through the mesh and into the reservoir, or you can hand fill them as well through the mist sprayer or your hose, and they overflow at the back so you can't overwater. And then that water sits there and it wicks up, or capillary actions up to the roots. So they're drinking from underneath, so you don't have to remember about their watering on the top.
Oh wow, it sounds perfect actually.
Yeah, really low maintenance systems. The covers as well, keeping out, you know, your cats, birds, bugs from getting in, and protecting from the weather, so the wind and sun and frosts. So they just, they basically look after themselves. Very, very easy gardening.
So this one's on wheels. So you
it is, we just wheeled it into the studio. So nice and handy if you've got them on wheels, because they are actually deceptively quite heavy. That weighs 80 kilos, because when you fill them up with your foot of soil and the water reservoirs full, they're quite heavy.
Yeah.
So having them on wheels means you can move them around your deck or patio nice and easy. We do stands as well if you don't need wheels, but that creates this height. It's waist-height gardening basically, so people are not having to bend over or get down on their knees to tend to their garden. So any age really doesn't want to bend down and get on their knees, so they love the height aspect of our stands and trolleys.
Yeah, and so this is a small one.
Yes, this is our smaller size, which is great for herbs, or a few strawberries or a few lettuces. But if you want to get into some of the bigger plants like your broccolis and cauliflowers and tomatoes, or maybe there's more than one or two of you, you might be a family or have more space, we do bigger sizes in this. So we go right up to 2 metres by 1 metre, which is a large garden. And great for people if they just eat a lot of veggies and herbs, or for families, right down to the small ones. So different sizes for different spaces and different amounts that you want to grow.
Awesome. I think even I'm going to be able to do this.
Yeah, yep. Honestly, I wasn't into gardening at all when I brought them into New Zealand, and they're pretty much fail-proof, and we've turned a lot of black thumbs into green thumbs with these systems, because they're really, really easy. Yeah.
So how did you get into this? If you weren't a gardener before, what inspired you to take this on?
Well, I did a business management degree, so I always wanted my own kind of business. I ended up starting off in corporate jobs in sales and marketing, and the way I got into Vegepod, and this is all about relationships over your life, but an old boss of mine, his brother invented them, and so through that corporate connection, they asked me if I would look to bring them into New Zealand. So it's actually an Australian product. And I flew over there, had a look at them, and thought, I think the Kiwis will go for this, and started off our first container, and that was 3 years ago. And I thought, a little hobby in between the kids, because the kids was quite little at that time, and might just be a part-time job selling a few of these around, and then it's just, excuse the pun, growing crazily. My husband's now full-time, we've got 5 staff, it's going nuts.
Well, I know how busy you are, because I know you had to move a lot around to get here today, so we really appreciate you being here. Thanks so much for being on the show.
You're welcome.
Jessie Wilde, welcome back.
Great to be here.
Well, you're here every week.
It's true.
So we're now at the end of season 4.
That's incredible. It's been a long journey, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really has, but the season's gone really quickly.
Yeah, 2nd season in our new building.
Yeah, and you found all of these incredible artists. Where are you finding all these musicians?
Well, I'd like to say there's been some luck. It's been a lot of hard work, I mean, modesty prevents me, but I'm pretty good at what I do.
So on that subject, I hope you've lined up someone very special to play out the season.
Well, I thought, how are we going to top all these incredible musicians this season? And
it's you, isn't it?
So I had to find the best musicians I know. The Wilde Records Studio 38 house band, Wilde Taylor Jones, are going to be playing.
Well, I'm guessing from Wilde Taylor Jones that you're the front man in that.
I'm one of the men in that band, yes.
Yeah.
And it's going to be we're going to do a song written by Mr. Ed Taylor.
Yep.
He came to me with this song. I did help him with the chorus, and I did get to write verse 3 as well.
Okay.
So we'll call it a co-written song.
Okay, we'll have to ask Ed separately what really happened, okay?
We'll do that in another season. But I think we're going to just finish with a song. It's called Broadway Cowboy, and it was written about homeless guy. We play a lot at the Lumsden Free House and Newmarket, and there's a homeless guy that sort of hangs out in the park, and he's a strange looking kind of fella. He's got bright orange hair, and he wears a little leather vest, no shirt, and big cowboy boots and a cowboy hat. And because we play on the corner of Broadway and Kaiba Pass, we called the song Broadway Cowboy, and those two streets feature in the song.
Wow.
With a lot of respect to the homeless community, we tried to write a song that's got some soul and a little bit of humour, and it's real.
And I hope he's watching.
Yeah, and it's the title track to our new album too.
Well, congratulations on the new album and playing out the season. Get up there, let's hear from Wilde Taylor Jones.
Let's do it. On a street corner, not too far from here, you might see a thin man with bright orange hair. He may act a little mean, hell, he'll look you up and down. But that man's name is Jimmy, and he's a legend in this town. Well, people say he's crazy, maybe they're right, with his cowboy boots so shiny and his leopard skin tights. But he'll come running when there's trouble going down, 'cause that man's name is Jimmy, and he runs this side of town. Broadway cowboy, riding through the pass. Why, he's a Broadway cowboy. Jimmy's time is running out fast. Well, Jimmy, he don't talk too much. There's not that much to say. Jimmy likes a drink or two early in the day. Hey, but fellas, I do warn you, if you're around the pass, don't you start no trouble or he'll kick your sorry ass. Woo! Broadway cowboy, riding through the pass. Why, he's a Broadway cowboy. Jimmy's time is running out fast. Take it then, come on. Woo! Yeah, Jimmy, he's a loner, he don't need no company. But in his own mind, he's living high, he's living free. He's a protector of the poor, he's generous to a fault, and he'll give you his last dollar, then he'll try to bum a smoke. Broadway cowboy, riding through the pass. Why, he's a Broadway cowboy. Jimmy's time's running out fast. Broadway cowboy, riding through the pass. Why, he's a Broadway cowboy. Jimmy's time is running out fast. All right, that's a wrap for season 4.
Here we go, watch out everyone. Right, thanks to all my special guests, to Shane, to Cheryl, to Lisa, to Wilde Taylor Jones, and of course, our very own Jessie Wilde. And until next time, don't wait to wake up your wow.
Okay.
Do I hit like a girl?
I don't want to say that too much because you might hit me like a little bit like a man.
So tempting.
Hey.
So tempting.
Or you might slip off the shoulder and hit my chin.
Don't want to spoil your good looks.